I used to believe that home was a place of safety, a fortress where love stood as the foundation, no matter what storms battered the walls. For years it was just me and my mom. We were close, or at least I thought we were. After Dad walked out when I was 14, I stayed. I helped. I grew up fast because I had to. By 25, I was working full-time, paying half the mortgage and covering utilities without being asked. I cooked, cleaned, fixed things that broke, made sure Mom had what she needed. She always said we were a team. That was before Savannah came back. My older sister, Savannah, had always been the golden child, Mom's pride. The pretty one, the social butterfly, the drama queen. She left home at 19 with a trail of glitter and promises to become something big. Every couple years, she'd swoop in with a sob story, borrow some money, and vanish again. But this time was different. She arrived on a Thursday night, dragging 3 overstuffed suitcases behind her like they were anchors. I opened the door, and there she stood, smeared mascara, red eyes, and a wounded expression, perfectly timed for Mom's arrival behind me. "Oh my God, baby, what happened?" Mom gasped, pushing past me like I was a piece of furniture. "Connor cheated on me," Savannah choked out, collapsing into Mom's arms. I have nowhere else to go. I stepped back and let them have their moment. I didn't believe her, not entirely. Savannah had always known how to cry on cue, but I wasn't heartless. If she needed a place to land, okay. A couple weeks, maybe a month, but from the second she moved in, things started shifting subtly at first. She took over the bathroom we shared, leaving makeup everywhere. She forgot to buy groceries or pitch in on bills. She slept until noon, played music too loud, and borrowed clothes and makeup from my room without asking. Still, I stayed quiet, gave her space. Mom's behavior began to change too. "You don't have to keep the house so tidy all the time," she said one evening, rolling her eyes as I vacuumed after work. "You're making Savannah feel uncomfortable. Uncomfortable. She's going through a lot," Mom would say when Savannah left dishes in the sink for days, or snapped at me for using her coffee mug. "She's grieving a relationship," Mom would explain when Savannah spent the rent money on a weekend trip to Nashville with her friends. "She just needs our support." Our support? I was the one working overtime to pay the damn mortgage. One night, I brought it up gently, calmly. I told Mom I felt like Savannah wasn't trying to help, that I was doing everything while she lounged around in her silk pajamas and acted like a victim in a house she never helped build. Mom's response stunned me. "You've always been so judgmental," she snapped, wine glass in hand. "Not everything is about money, you know. Sometimes people need emotional support more than anything else. Not everyone's like you, obsessed with control." It was the first time she'd spoken to me like that, like I was some outsider criticizing her daughter. I was her daughter too, wasn't I? That night I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, hearing Savannah's laugh echo from the living room, where she and Mom were watching reality shows and sipping wine. My stomach twisted. I felt like a stranger in my own home, the home I helped pay for, the one I worked every day to keep afloat. Over the next few weeks, things got worse. Mom started asking me to take on more bills, just for a little while, she said, until Savannah gets back on her feet. When I asked when that might be, she glared at me like I'd kicked a puppy. Savannah started picking fights with me over everything: my cooking, the music I listened to, the way I looked at her. "You're always so bitter," she'd say with a smirk. "You should really talk to someone about that." I began to dread coming home. My sanctuary had become a battlefield, and the 2 people I should have felt safest with had somehow turned me into the enemy. One Saturday morning, the final crack appeared, and it split everything wide open. I was making coffee when Mom came into the kitchen, arms crossed, jaw set. Savannah wasn't far behind, perched dramatically in the hallway like a silent judge. "We need to talk," Mom said. The moment those words left her mouth, I felt my chest tighten. "It's not working," she continued. "This tension in the house, it's toxic. Savannah's trying to heal, and you're making it difficult." "I'm making it difficult?" I asked, blinking. "I've been the one paying. I know what you've been doing." She interrupted, voice cold. "But money doesn't give you the right to act like you own this place. If you can't be more supportive, maybe it's best if you found your own space." It didn't feel real. Are you kicking me out? I'm asking you to respect the peace of this house. If that means leaving, then yes. I looked at her, at Savannah, at the home I'd sacrificed for, bled for, carried, and in that moment, something inside me broke, not in rage, not even in sorrow. Just clarity. I nodded, no begging, no screaming, no tears. Okay, I said. Mom flinched like she'd expected a fight. Savannah smirked behind her, victorious. I turned away, already planning what I'd take and, more importantly, what I'd leave behind. Because what they didn't know was simple. The house they had claimed as their own, it stood because I held it up. And soon, they'd feel what it was like to live with nothing holding it together. I packed my things in silence, 3 boxes, 2 suitcases, and 1 broken heart. It's strange how little space your entire life takes up when you've spent years giving everything to everyone else. There was no farewell dinner, no warm hugs, just the dull sound of cardboard scraping across the floor, and the echo of Savannah laughing in other room like the war had already been won. Mom didn't even come out to say goodbye. I left the keys on the counter and closed the door behind me quietly, without a slam. It was the same way I'd done everything in that house, respectfully, carefully, like I didn't belong there in the first place. But here's what they didn't know. That house, it wasn't just mine emotionally. The mortgage was in my name. Back when Mom's credit was in the gutter and the bank wouldn't approve her, I stepped in. I had the better score, the stable job, the trust. She couldn't have kept the house without me. She said it was temporary, just until I get back on my feet. But years passed, and she never took her name off anything. She just let me keep paying, because I could, and she needed help. And I didn't mind, not at first. Now I was gone, and so was the money. I moved in with a college friend who had a spare room and no judgment. It wasn't fancy. The paint peeled in the hallway, the pipe groaned in winter, and the neighbors played music too loud. But it was peaceful, quiet. Nobody yelling, no one taking my things, twisting my words, or accusing me of being too controlling. Because I wanted to keep the electricity on. I came home to silence, made myself dinner, curled up with a book. It was lonely sometimes, yes, but it was mine. The first call from Mom came 3 weeks later. "Hi, sweetheart," she began, voice overly sweet, the kind of sugar that rots your teeth. "Hey, just a quick thing, the mortgage hasn't gone through yet." Did the payment bounce? I took a slow breath. No, I didn't pay it. A pause. Why not? "Because," I said evenly, "I don't live there anymore." The silence stretched so long I thought the call had dropped. "You can't just stop paying," she snapped. "The house is in your name." "It's in my name, but you live in it, and you kicked me out. So no, I don't have to keep paying. You'll ruin your credit." You should have thought about that before choosing her over me. I hung up before she could respond. The calls came more frequently after that, then the texts. First polite, then pleading, then venomous, "You're being petty." I needed to put Savannah first, she's fragile. "Don't you dare let this house go into default. What will people think?" I didn't reply, let them wonder. Through mutual friends and neighbors, I started hearing stories. Savannah threw a party a week after I left. Loud, messy, obnoxious, the kind that drew noise. Complaints and cops, the living room got trashed. One of the guests broke the front window. Mom yelled at them to stop. Savannah told her to chill. A few weeks later, Savannah started bringing strange men home, then borrowing Mom's car without asking, then vanishing for 2 or 3 days at a time. No job, no plans to get one, and Mom, well, she still had her pride, which meant she pretended everything was fine. Even as bills started piling up. Even when the second mortgage notice came. Even when the utilities started shutting off one by one. I pictured her lighting candles in the kitchen to cover up the power outage, not for warmth, for the illusion of control. The 3rd month was when the foreclosure warning started. Certified letters, red ink, warnings in bold. She called again, this time crying, "I don't know what to do." She sobbed into the phone, "They're threatening to take the house. I didn't know how much you were really paying." I thought we were splitting it. "You never asked," I said. "I thought you'd always help me," she whispered, and there it was, the raw truth, finally uncovered. She thought I'd always be there, no matter how poorly she treated me, no matter how easily she pushed me aside. She thought I was safe to use. "I'm not your safety net anymore," I said softly. "You cut it." And I hung up. Meanwhile, life moved on for me. My new apartment started to feel like home. I bought a plant, then another. I started sleeping through the night again. I learned how to enjoy silence without bracing for the next explosion. I got a small promotion at work. Nothing huge, but enough to start saving. Most importantly, I learned how to breathe again, and yet every now and then, I'd catch myself scrolling through old pictures, holidays, birthdays, blurry selfies of me and Mom in the kitchen. I missed the idea of her, the version that used to hold me when I cried, the woman who told me I was strong and smart and enough, but that woman wasn't real, or maybe she used to be and life twisted her into someone else. Either way, I stopped chasing ghosts. By the 6th month, the house was listed as in default, and not officially foreclosed yet, but it was coming, fast. Savannah was gone again, off chasing some other life, probably already conning another supportive man into footing her bills. Mom tried one last time. She left a voicemail. I know I hurt you, but I didn't think you'd ever really leave me like this. This is still your home too, you know. We're family, but she was wrong, because family doesn't throw you out and expect your loyalty after the door slams shut. By winter, the house went up for auction. The mortgage company seized it. Mom had to move in with an old friend on the other side of town, a tiny condo with no guest room and paper, thin walls, no more garden, no more fireplace, no more house, and me. I lit a candle in my apartment that night, not for warmth, for peace. I didn't go to the auction. I could have. The property listing was public. I could have stood across the street, arms crossed, watching strangers wander through the house that used to hold my childhood, deciding how much it was worth. But I didn't need to see it sold to know it was over. The real goodbye happened 6 months earlier, when Mom stood beside Savannah and told me to leave. This was just the final nail in a coffin they built themselves. The house sold for barely enough to cover what was left of the loan. A small, forgettable number stripped of the memories, the sweat, the work I poured into keeping it alive. I got a notice from the bank confirming the transfer. My name was wiped from the deed. Just like that, I was free, but freedom comes with a strange sort of grief. You mourn the future you thought you'd have, the holidays in that kitchen, the repairs you planned to make, the garden you were going to plant with your mother in spring, the laughter that used to echo down the hall, back when you still believed love was enough to fix everything. I didn't hear from Mom for a while after the auction. No texts, no calls, just silence. Savannah was long gone. According to a mutual acquaintance, she'd taken off to California with some guy she met on Instagram. Left the day after the foreclosure note. Hit the mailbox, no goodbye, no apology, just vanished like she always did. I wasn't surprised. I often wondered, in the quiet of my new apartment, how long it took Mom to realize the difference between me and Savannah wasn't just about money. It was about loyalty. One of us had been there, paying, cleaning, fixing, sacrificing. The other had been performing, but the performance was over. Now the stage had collapsed, and the applause was gone. 2 months after the foreclosure, I got an email. Subject line, just talk to me. It was from Mom. I don't expect forgiveness, she wrote, but I wanted you to know I see it now, all of it. What you did for me, what Savannah really was. I just didn't want to believe you were right, because it meant I had to admit I was wrong. I lost the house. I lost her, and now I've lost you. I miss my daughter. The one who stayed. I stared at the screen for a long time. Her words didn't hit like they might, of a year ago. They didn't make me cry, or scream, or even smile. They just felt late. She missed me now, but only because she had no one else. I wasn't a daughter, I was a fallback plan, a built-in parachute. The insurance policy she tore up the moment a shinier, louder daughter came crashing back into her arms, and I'd finally learned, just because someone shares your blood doesn't mean they deserve your heartbeat. Still, part of me considered replying, not to reopen anything, but maybe to say I'm okay, maybe to let her know I survived, that her betrayal didn't destroy me. But the truth was, I owed her nothing. I didn't owe her peace after she stole mine. I didn't owe her updates on the life she pushed me out of. I didn't owe her comfort just because she was finally uncomfortable. So I didn't respond. The strange thing about revenge is, when it's real, when it's deep and justified, it doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to look like courtroom battles or screaming matches or slashed tires. Sometimes it's as quiet as a missed call, as gentle as letting someone fall on their own sword, as final as silence. I built a new life brick by brick. It wasn't flashy, but it was mine. I went back to school part-time, started therapy, and learned how to cook for once. Without feeling lonely, I traveled for the first time, just a weekend trip, a cheap Airbnb, but it felt like freedom in its purest form. I found people who didn't see me as the stable one, or backup plan. Just to me, I laughed again. I loved again. I lived without apologizing for taking up space, and that, in the end, was the best revenge of all. The last time I drove past the old house, it was unrecognizable. New shutters, fresh paint, a different car in the driveway, a garden blooming in the front yard that I never got to plant. I smiled, not with bitterness, not with pain, just peace, because they lost everything chasing the wrong person, and I found everything the moment I walked away. Time has a way of softening things. Sharp memories dull at the edges, and rage, if left unfed, burns out like a fire left too long in the rain. But some things don't soften. Some things stay clear, sharp, and cold, like the memory of being told to leave your own home by the people you loved the most. It's been a year since I walked out of that house, a full year since I left the keys on the counter, turned my back on my mother, and gave up trying to earn a place in a family that never truly saw me. A year since I stopped holding everything together, and not once have I regretted it. My life is smaller now in some ways. My apartment has no guest room, my kitchen is tiny, my mornings are quiet, but my peace is enormous. I no longer brace myself before walking through the door. I don't flinch at every phone vibration, wondering if it's another demand disguised as a guilt trip. I don't wait for the next explosion. There is no explosion, only soft music, warm food, and space that's mine. Mom still sends messages now and then. They come in waves, usually around the holidays, or on dates I used to mark with care. Her birthday, the anniversary of Dad leaving, Savannah's birthday. The tone changes depending on her mood. Sometimes they're apologetic, full of sad emojis and I miss you. Other times they're laced with bitterness, accusations that I abandoned her, that I let a house fall apart over pride. But I never reply, because I know the truth now, and that truth is simple. I didn't destroy our family. I just stopped bleeding for it. I stopped paying to be unloved. I heard from an old neighbor that Mom's friend eventually kicked her out. Too many arguments, too many nights spent crying over wine. I guess when you push away the one person who holds everything together, you find out fast who won't stay when things get hard. I don't know where Mom lives now. I stopped checking. Maybe she found another couch. Maybe she's living in a cramped apartment like mine. Maybe she finally found a reason to stand on her own feet, or maybe she's still waiting for someone else to do the standing for her. Savannah, she never came back. Not even when the house was foreclosed. Not when Mom started unraveling. Not when the lights were cut off and the fridge emptied and the bills stacked up in unsteady piles on the counter. Turns out, the golden child shines only until the lights go out. Last I heard, she was in San Diego, living off a new boyfriend's credit cards, still blaming everyone else for the messes she makes. It's strange. For so long, I envied her, the attention she got, the way Mom lit up when she walked in the room, the forgiveness she never had to ask for, the space she took up without ever being asked to earn it. Now, I pity her. She never learned to carry anything, never had to stand on her own, never built anything real because someone else always did the building for her, and eventually that well runs dry. People always talk about revenge like it's dramatic, slashing tires, screaming matches, public takedowns, but those aren't revenge, not real revenge. Real revenge is quiet. It's walking away from people who expected you to crawl back. It's letting the ones who used you feel your absence in the weight of their unpaid bills and empty rooms. It's the silence that comes when they realize they burned their bridge, and you're not rebuilding it. It's peace. That's the best revenge of all. Last month, I was approved for a mortgage on a condo. It's not big. It's not in the best part of town. But it's mine, with my name on every page of the paperwork. My money, paying for every tile, every lock, every future moment spent in it. No one's couch, no one's charity, no one's backup plan. Just me choosing myself finally, fully, when the keys dropped into my hand at closing. I didn't cry. I thought I might, but the tears never came. Instead, I smiled. Because for the first time in years, I felt something I hadn't known I'd lost. Control, freedom, wholeness. I'll never be the daughter she wanted. I know that now, but I'm not angry anymore, because I've become the woman I needed, the one who walks away when she's not respected, the one who loves quietly, fiercely, and only where love is returned, and the girl who once begged to stay, she's gone, the woman who left the house and never looked back, she's just getting started,